Hi, I'm Terry J. Walker, and right here, this is my superstar, social media sidekick, Mr. Bailey Bob, and we're bringing to you a new show streaming on Mupo Entertainment called the I Am Power Hour, where everyone has a song to sing, a story to tell, and having to follow their passion to have the courage to rise and thrive. Could you be one of our next interviews as we all work together to bring love, light, unity, and connection to one another, and again, to have the courage to rise and thrive? Join me on the I Am Power Hour streaming on Mupo Entertainment.
Let them watch
So we're
this.
going to work on this.
Definitely a good guy. Sure.
Back here on the mountain, and Mandy's getting back to her roots.
Roll, Alex. Yakety yak.
Hello, and welcome to the I Am Power Hour with me, Terry J. Walker. And boy, do I have a wonderful special guest for you today. You know what? This day is fabulous because we are going to be working with Zakiya Roberts, and we're going to find out just exactly what her passion is. And do you want to know? I'm going to give you a little hint. Her passion is to help others become their best self, just like me as well. And so we're going to move forward with all of this and have a wonderful show coming ahead for you, because she's also working with children, and you might want to stay tuned for this. So we'll be right back after this commercial break. Welcome back to the I Am Power Hour, and I have a very special guest with you today, Zakiya Roberts. I am so excited to have you on here today, and thank you for coming to the I Am Power Hour. So, tell me, Zakiya, how did you get started, and what's a little bit of your backstory?
I got started with this journey probably about 5 years ago. And within the last year and a half, it's really picked up the pace. I have gone through a Kundalini awakening, and I've had a great group of healers around me to help me go through that process and figure out what certain things may mean, while focusing on prayer and my scripture readings to figure out what is what, and changing my subconscious mind to my conscious mind. Yeah.
And tell, some of our viewers may not know exactly what a Kundalini awakening is. So can you explain that briefly about what that is?
So for me, it was a matter of having a vision that I wasn't being my best self.
Right.
It was a matter of recognizing that, whoa, you know? And the Kundalini awakening, after studying it a little bit, it's a matter of recognizing that everything you knew may not be true.
Okay, so let's delve into that just
yes.
a little bit. Everything you knew or have been taught
Yes,
may not be true.
yes.
So a lot of us have been taught a lot of stuff. You know, we've learned a lot over the
Yes.
years, and we've been programmed. So kind of what have you recognized that everything you were taught might not be true?
When you learn things from people who are broken, they pass on brokenness.
Right.
And then you start living your life based on those broken patterns, and you accept those things to be true.
Right.
When you recognize that, whoa, this may not be serving me well anymore, you have to unlearn lots of those things that we were taught,
Right.
and figure out where to go from there. So it's a matter of relearning to best serve yourself and others.
And we have, you know, what I do as well
Okay.
is I'm a practitioner to help people overcome limiting beliefs.
Yes.
You know, those things, which is kind of like the Kundalini breakthrough.
Yes.
And those are the things that we have got to learn, where we're been told maybe we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not rich enough, we're not handsome or pretty enough. We are just not enough.
Yes.
And actually, in essence, we have been born with a lot of unique skills and abilities. We have a passion within us.
Yes.
And when that happens, when we are able to actually look within ourselves, then we find that truth, that passion, that wisdom.
Yes.
And you know, I wrote a book a few years ago entitled The Resume of Life.
Oh.
And the subtitle was called Becoming Consciously Aware Through Spirit, Mind, and Body. And a lot of people came to me and said, well, Terry, everybody says mind, body, and spirit, or body, mind, and spirit. And what I found was that we put spirit last when we just say those simple things. And that's why I rephrased it to becoming consciously aware, as you mentioned, through spirit, mind, and body. So tell me a little bit about how you turned in, you had this awakening, and what was going on with you to create those changes.
So it started with stress. Stress all around me, stress that I could not control, not knowing what to do next, walking in the grocery store and just completely panicking.
Right.
And I remember going to bed one night crying my eyes out, and there was a profound moment where I literally heard the voice of Jesus, and that was new for me. I never felt that, but it was almost like he was laying on my pillow beside me.
Right.
And he said, "Welcome home, daughter. I've been waiting for you." You know, and it gave me, every time I tell anyone that, it gives me chills. And that was last March, believe it or not, 1 year ago. And April 25th of last year, I got baptized because I thought it's time for me to focus on spirit. Okay.
Right.
And following that, you think your life is just going to get better. Like, I'm following God, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, now it's going to get better. And it took a matter of April, May, June, July. It took about 4 months, and I couldn't walk.
Oh, wow. So tell me what happened there.
Over the course after getting baptized, I kept having visions of I'm going to be left unable to walk. I didn't know in what context. It was something I didn't want to put into the air because your words have so much power, right?
Yes, they do.
Something that I've also learned. And I shared that with a few people, and everyone just thought, well, we got to make sure that doesn't happen, you know? And I laid down for a nap on September 8th last year and woke up and could not get up.
Oh, wow.
So I finally got my body up, walked, and just collapsed. And it took going to the chiropractor. My husband had to physically carry me in the car, and we went to Dr. Jamie's office in Livingston. We were in Sparta, and I thought, I'm not going to the hospital. There's no way I'm going to the hospital.
Right.
So we went to her office, and she climbed in my back seat in my daughter's car seat and just adjusted my brainstem, nothing else. And we did a series of testing. We did all kinds of things, MRIs, CT scans, and they could find nothing other than bulging disc. No actual cause for what had happened. And so that's when I just dug deeper to figure out, like, why is this happening? But at the same time, it was uncomfortable because I like to be in control.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Oh, and we're going to be right back because we're going to talk about who is in control. And we'll be right back after this commercial break. To the I Am Power Hour, and I'm here with Zakiya Roberts, and we just left you a few minutes ago, but we want to know who is in control, because many of us have that feeling or fear that we can control everything around us when in essence, the only thing we truly can control is what goes on within us and our response to it. So tell me, what's it like to be in control?
I don't even know anymore. I'm in control of what I can do and what I do, and like you just said. And so that feels amazing, you know? It feels amazing to know that setting boundaries and doing the work to develop those boundaries, that's uncomfortable, and you lose some control in that, you know, with outside sources. But then you recognize, like, oh wait, I can do this anyway. You know, like, I can do what I need to do. It's not a concern of mine what the other person is doing, you know, or how they're doing a thing. What I have to focus on is how I react, how I move forward. Unthinking the thoughts. Like, for an example, I was subbing the other day, and the teacher across the hall from me shut her door, and my room door was open. Both of our doors were open, and she shut her door. Immediately I thought, why is she shutting her door on me? What did I do to her? That was my immediate thought. And then I had to remind myself, hold on, Zakiya, everything's not about you. You know, what if her class was loud and she didn't want to interrupt me? But my immediate subconscious thought was, what did I do? You know? And when we stop thinking like, you know, everything is about us and everything is as a result of us, then we recognize that there's a whole life going on outside of us, and we can only worry about what we do, you know? So my response to that could have been ugly, but then I am working on, you know, establishing those new beliefs. Like, it's not about me, you know?
Right. And being able to set boundaries and being able to work through that. And sometimes we have to get out of our comfort zone to make positive, significant changes for our life.
Yes.
And again, where you were in a place where you had actually been able to not walk again, because the body was breaking down through the stress, the anxiety, and that uncomfortableness that you were really already in, to be able to come forward and make the changes that you need to make for yourself. And I had heard too that you were feeling a lot of emotions during this time leading up to this. So tell us what some of those emotions were.
I felt anger. I felt rage. I felt so much confusion. And a lot of the confusion came from a little bit of the backstory. I started having seizures in 2019. And I've been to so many neurologists, and no one could, they're not epileptic, they're just psychogenic seizures and no actual diagnosis or anything like that, or treatment for it outside of therapy. And when many of us say, oh, therapy can fix seizures, right? And if you find the correct therapist and you do the work from your spirit and your mind, it will transfer to your body. So the last neurologist I saw, it was November of last year, he looked at me and said, I am 99% sure that this is not epilepsy. He said, you've done all this testing, you have all of this blood work. He said, this is your body's way of reacting to stress. And he said, this stress response I've only ever seen in someone who has been abused or has ongoing abuse going on. And that was where the confusion came hardcore, you know, because it's like, how is everything that has happened in my life causing this now? Right? And so that's confusion. And then there's rage, because it's like, well, why did my parents do better? You know,
Right.
why all of these, like, and then it was anger, because it's like, I transferred these things to my children. They're young, but because these are the beliefs that I've already held, some of them have transferred to them. So then that took me being very intentional with my words and my actions with my children, because then I focused on doing what was right, showing them what was right by actions, not by just saying, because I grew up by you do as I say, not as I do, right?
Exactly.
But how do children learn the most?
By watching.
By watching, right?
Exactly.
And so then they would say, well, Mom, why do we have to do this? And I'm like, well, Mom is learning that this is how we should do it. And I want to make sure that you all know that this is the right way to do it. You know, God says in the Bible, because I have to use that as my foundation of how we should live. It's a blueprint, you know, it's
Right.
really a blueprint. And so I use a lot of scripture or just different passages to relate to it in my actions, not just in my words.
Right. And that is extremely important, because it's all about how we are being, thinking, and doing.
Yes.
And if we allow our being to come, our beingness to come forward, then we would look to change our thoughts and improve that, and our words come flowing from that, and then our doing, our actions begin to flow out of all of that. And that's when it's a process. It's not easy.
No.
But, you
No,
know,
it's
we
not.
have to reprogram
Yes.
all of these things. But when we do this, we raise our consciousness. And then, as the tagline to the I Am Power Hour is, the courage, it takes courage
Yes.
to rise and thrive rather than merely surviving, which is what a lot of us are doing
Yes.
in this day and age.
Oh,
But when
yes.
we come into terms about our emotions and our spirituality and our unique skills and abilities and our passion and our why, then things begin to change for us.
Oh, yes.
And through the spirit, then the mind, and the body. I look at it like this. We all have a little candle and a flicker within us.
Yes.
But if we're willing to grow and learn from that, we can turn that flicker into a flame.
Yeah.
And then that's when we begin to grow and improve. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what I am so excited about is to see someone who is on a journey to rising and thriving and growing and becoming better each and every day. But
Yes.
again, like you said, it's a process.
Oh, yes. Oh,
And
yeah.
in the process of this too, you've healed your body.
Oh, yes.
So you're walking now.
I am walking now. No
Yeah.
wheelchair, no walker, just me.
And you were in a wheelchair and
Yes.
a walker.
Yes.
And how did you do that?
How did I do what? Heal myself?
How did you heal your body and bring it back?
Recognizing what I can control.
Recognizing what we can control. That's
Supplements,
powerful.
lots of holistic healing, lots of changing of the diet, because we aren't meant to eat the way that a lot of us eat. That's not how our bodies were designed.
Exactly.
So,
So that's very powerful, to make those positive changes and to grow within that. And now you look fantastic.
thank you.
And I am so excited because look at what after we get back from this break. We're going to discuss what Zakiya is actually doing now to help others to have the courage to rise and thrive. And I'm going to give you a little hint. When you talk about sowing a seed, now's the time. And so let's see what seeds Zakiya has to offer us when we return. Welcome back to the I Am Power Hour with me, Terry J. Walker, and my special guest, Zakiya Roberts. And we're going to talk about sowing a few seeds and what Zakiya is doing and how she is helping others to sow some positive seeds. Zakiya, tell me, what are you doing and what is this?
So, I am focusing on serving others through gardening. Whether that be elderly who can no longer like get down in their gardens, or they are, they lack the mobility for it, and they don't want to miss out on having a vegetable garden. I would love to serve them by coming and getting my hands dirty, getting down in there. Like, that soil is good for me. I enjoy that. And just helping them to continue to have the fresh produce that they have had all of their life. And for children, there's that generational gap that exists right now with producing your own food and several other skills, but I'm focusing on producing food. And so the goal is to get children excited about gardening, teach them what I do know, and to learn in the process, learn from the elders that I'm helping, for me to gain more knowledge. And so for the children, we look at how tiny a seed is. We start with that. I always like to start with how tiny a seed is. And I show them the seed and I say, that seed can turn into this. And they are just like blown away. Like, how is that possible? So we go through the life cycle of a plant, and they enjoy that. And then we do some planting. So this right here is a tomato plant that some of my garden club students planted. There's 2 in this little pot right now. And so this we will put in the ground and it will bear fruit. But they started these from seed, and lots of people now, you go and you can get your starts at the store. And it's way more cost effective to start with seed. And it teaches you patience. It teaches you that you may lose a few along the way, but what you nurture and what you put your time into will grow. And that's how we are as humans. And I like to connect how important that is. Like, if we treated each plant and people the same, how much more would we grow? How much more would we rise and thrive, right?
Yes.
And so that's what we do in Gardening Club. And my goal is to be able to go around to different businesses, different schools even, and get children back into gardening. And they can bring their knowledge home to their parents and to their extended family, and their extended family will say, well, they have an interest in this, and they know how to do this, and they can teach me something, or we can do this again as a family. And next thing you know, families everywhere will be growing their own food again, not stressing out like I did in the grocery store about how much things cost and how it's going to affect my body, right?
And you've developed a program called Z's Pots of Peace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so tell us, how did you come up with Z's Pots of Peace?
When my seizures began,
Mm-hmm.
I was very limited as to what I could do. I never knew when one was coming. It was a scary time for my husband. It was a scary time for the children. And it was a scary time for me. So that is when I dived into gardening from seeds, starting seeds. So that year, it took me 3 months to get a plant from a seed. I kept planting seeds and they would grow and they would die. Planting seeds and they would grow and they would die, and I never gave up. Never gave up, because what I could control in that time was gardening, or what I was doing with my seeding. I couldn't control I didn't feel like I could control my own health and my own body, but this was something I could sink my time into that would bring me joy. And so Z's Pots of Peace came about because for me it was peace.
Yes.
Peace. Like, it offers a sense of peace, and I'm growing and I'm nurturing something, and I felt powerful in doing that.
And it makes me think of faith of a mustard seed.
Yes.
You know, and the fact that you've grown into this, you've had the courage to rise and thrive and overcome a lot of negative emotions, a lot of physical issues and concerns.
Yes.
And now you're helping others to find some peace.
Yes.
And to have some accountability, something that many of us have forgotten about.
Yes.
And being accountable for something as small as a plant, but how important it is to nurture it, to grow it. And as we help something to grow, it helps us
Yes.
to feel better about ourselves and our self-esteem and our confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And it provides us some peace and growing within ourselves as well, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So we can kind of take the faith of a mustard seed and find our unique skill and ability
Yes.
and help to grow that and nurture it, just like we're doing this
Yes.
with plants. Is
Yes.
that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay,
Yes.
so Z's pots of peace, and you'll see that on the link below, but you'll definitely need to contact her. She's doing classes and providing help for children
Yes.
and elderly.
Yes.
So we've got a new teacher on the horizon, and you need to get in touch with Zakiya Roberts, and we're going to tell you how to do that right after this break. Welcome back to the I Am Power Hour, and we're going to finish up with Miss Zakiya Roberts right here and now. But she is planting seeds, and we're all having the courage to rise and thrive. So, Zakiya, tell me how my audience can get in touch with you and find out more about what you're doing.
We are on Facebook, so you can go to Z's Pots of Peace Nursery, and that's our Facebook page. On Instagram, it's Pots of Peace Nursery. And then also, if you would like to shoot us an email, if you have some inspiration, you have any gardening questions, or you just want to know more of my story, you can reach out to me on potsofpeacenursery@gmail.com.
Fantastic. And we've had a great show for you today, and I am so glad that you guys tuned in, because we need to move forward with Pots of Peace and Zakiya Roberts. Thank you all for attending the I Am Power Hour today, where we all find a way to have the courage to rise and thrive. Y'all come back now. You hear?
Him on Facebook planting the plants, and I had this aha moment of, oh my gosh, he learned how to do this in gardening club, and that was my goal, was for kids to garden at home. One of the Mother's Day director from church visited me at the hospital and brought me a Christmas cactus or Thanksgiving cactus, and there's so many rooms. It was flowering at the time, and that was 2019. It has not flowered again since, until 3 weeks ago. I started seeing little pink buds coming out of it, and now it has open flowers. And I thought, plants know. This smells like the time I had when I was